Hello, beautiful people, and happy Sunday. For those of you who don't know, my name is Steven ESC, and I'm a bit of a variety streamer, as it turns out. It was primarily Minecraft, but now I've done Minecraft, Lego, and do some illustration, and we're now doing a little bit of design-related stuff. So, hi, welcome, good to see you. Of course, we've got awesome folks in here right away already. We've got Cosmic, hello, hello. Man-Made in here right afterwards, hello to you as well, and then Aldabar. Good to see you. Oh, Jay Price, I did not see you come in. Hello. Welcome, welcome. What? I heard a notification. Oh my goodness, Man-Made, thank you. Subscribe for 6 months with Prime. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Appreciate your generosity. So this stream's going to be a little bit... I don't know if it's different than other... I guess a little bit different than previous Emote streams in the sense that I've already drawn this one. But just... surprise, a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things. And so, a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things, but also I've been thinking that I would like to take some of my emote art and then have them available, actually not even available for people to buy t-shirts. I want them on my own t-shirts. And then I might just put some of them up in the shop if people are interested anyway, just for fun. So we're going to start with the train emote because it's one of the easier ones. It's nice and blocky, so it'll be easy for me to do. And then I will flip over to redo the other ones. The shark hype, the boar love with the eye, the heart eyes, and then I want to do Be He again. I think Be He would be a pretty cute t-shirt, so I want to get one of those done. And then there's also the fish eye roll one. I think I might turn fish eye roll into fish side eye. I think that would be a better one. A little shifty side eye fish, it'd be fun. Moon Girl, hello, I didn't see you pop in right away there. Welcome in. Yes, hello every lovely one of you as well. Exactly. And Jay Price right there flexing the, actually I'm glad you brought up Cosmic's emote there because we're going to chat about that a little bit. So yes, Cosmic, forever sorry that I forget to push the button for you. Thank you for the custom shoutout for Aldabar, and there's the custom shoutout for you. So this is a little bit different than a lot of people's webcam setup for streaming, in the sense that it's not going in through Streamlabs. It's a separate application that I have that's meant to actually put your face on your desktop, so I can see my face as well. So like right where I am is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen on my desktop as well. So it's weird, but it's got this cool thing that allows you, like when you're doing stuff and presenting, when my cursor goes over it, then it's sort of, you have the opportunity to make it transparent and blur so that you can see whatever's underneath it. So we can continue to do stuff in the middle of the screen, which is great. But then if I have to go down here and go, oh yeah, then it just conveniently gets out of the way. So it's kind of neat. All right, not Steven. I missed it. What does not Steven mean? Oh, no, the perfectionist. Yeah, exactly. So this is the way the emote was done originally. Well, the emote, for those of you who were there, was done originally in an application on my iPad called Procreate, which is great. You can use the Apple Pencil. You can actually draw it. It's got thick and thins. You can see in here, you get thin lines going thicker. I'm not sure how well that's turning out on the stream, but you can see when you zoom in. You actually can see it now. So when you zoom in, it's really pixelated. And so then if I decided I want that to be big enough to put on a t-shirt, I can scale it up like this. But if I scale it up, it actually makes Cosmic gifted 6-month tier 1 to Aldabar. Oh my goodness, Cosmic, thank you so much. Generosity today. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Man-Made into Cosmic. Good start to the morning. Appreciate you both very much. And Aldabar, now you get to flex those emotes, and soon they'll all be a little bit crisper. So just, as you can see as I zoomed in, what? What? Man-Made is gifting a tier 1 sub to... Nice, thank you so much. And it went to True Purple. Amazing, thank you so much, Man-Made. And Aldabar with the 200 bits. Alright, now it's getting a little bit warm in here, folks. It happens every time with... That's amazing. So we started a hype train. Yeah, Man-Made kicked off the hype train. Way to go. Thank you very much. Gift bits and sub hype, indeed. So trying to stay focused on what I'm talking about. You find folks make that a little difficult sometimes, but I appreciate you all very much. So when I zoomed this picture in larger, if I wanted to increase the size of this to go in a t-shirt, for one, you can see the top, or maybe it's not obvious, but there's some bumpiness going on here. And it just got more and more pixelated. So this is, oops, where'd you go? What? And Jay Price with 100 bits as well. Thank you so much. All right, this is for all of you. Those little finger hearts as well. Your generosity, thank you so much. So when you zoom in, the edges get blurry and then chunky. So this is not, scaling something up that was done as a pixelated image is not the way to go. It's not what you want to do. Quit that. But Adobe Illustrator is a fun application that allows you to create vector artwork. Now this is the one that I created for Cosmic, which is the sunflower heart. And I did this one as vector graphics. So basically, or I can actually show the outline version of this one. And so this is actually a series of shapes. I think I described this a little bit when I did the I love stairs emote. But each one of these petals, and I'm just toggling back and forth between. This is called preview mode, so you can actually preview what it's going to look like. And this is wireframe mode or outline mode, just so that you can see what the shapes are, and then you can see the shapes with the look applied to them. So basically, each one of these blue dots is what's called an anchor point, and that's basically the beginning of a line segment. Just use the pen quickly. So if I wanted to, I can draw a straight line, like that. By default, it has no look whatsoever. I can give it a stroke, or if I want to, I can, of any color, I can give it a, this shape over here does not have a stroke applied to it, it's got a fill applied to it. But if I wanted to, I could sort of flip that to have a black outline with a white fill, and we can change the color to magenta right away. So everything here is just, it's editable on the fly. And the thing that I love about it, sorry, I realized, oh my goodness, we're up to hype train level 5. I was getting into monologuing, folks. I'm sorry, and I missed some stuff. Make him sweat. It was renewal time. Oh my goodness. Well, Cosmic beat you to at that time, Alabar, but that is all right. I appreciate the thought and appreciate the generosity, Cosmic. And Jip, I wanted to stick that on a shirt, or at least a sticker. Make it happen. Oh, Cosmic heart. Yeah, we should do that, Cosmic. Whoa, 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 Cosmic. I am so sorry that I missed that. 5,000 bits and 1,000 bits? Come on now. He said make him sweat. It's working. Holy smokes. And Dan Grace is in the house as well. Hello, hello, and heyo to you too. Thank you everyone for being here, and folks, and your generosity blows my mind. I have to get used to stop monologuing, and whenever there's a notification, just pay attention. So the thing that I love about Adobe Illustrator is that, so Cosmic's emote here, or I'm going to undo everything that we've done so far. Done. I can just basically duplicate it over, just hold Option or Alt as I drag it. I'm going to scale that down to 10%. Oh right, I've got some strokes going on there. Okay, that's one good thing to keep in mind. So you can actually turn on scale strokes and effects, which we want to do. So then we're going to scale that down to 10%. Another 100 Cosmic, another 1,000 bits. Holy smokes! Thank you so much. It could be a rainbow flower. We could look at doing that as well. So I shrunk this down to 10%. And if I zoom in on it and zoom in on it and zoom in on it, these lines stay. This I can't zoom in anymore. I'm at where's I can. There, I am zoomed into 64,000%. And you can see that this curve here is as smooth as it was when we were looking at it at full size. So, likewise, if I wanted to, I could take this illustration and scale the entire thing up to be the size of a billboard, and it would still keep the same crispness of line, because that's the beauty of vector arts or vector illustration. Oops. Because basically, I don't know the exact thing, or the way to explain it, but the outline is basically described as a mathematical equation. What that equation is, I don't know, and part of me doesn't care. But basically, as you scale it up and down in size, it's just the equation stays the same. It's just the variables change. So it's just like, oh, you want that line to go from point A to point B, and it arcs a little bit? Cool. It's 1 inch wide? Great. And then if they say I want that to be 10 inches wide? Cool. It's the same equation. We're just going to change the numbers in it a bit. So it stays the same crispness no matter what size it's at. Hope that makes sense. Oh my goodness, missing some stuff here. I apologize. Couldn't leave it at just 85% complete as you as you were. That's amazing. Thanks, Cosmic. Rainbow flower. We should do this. It's okay, Cosmic, but we should chat about this because I enjoy doing this stuff, and I find this is one of those. It feels like one of the few things in my life, even though I'm not the best in the world at it. I use these applications every day, so I would, at the risk of sounding full of myself, feel like I can talk about this as an expert, and so I'm happy to do this almost every. I would be happy to do this on a regular basis. We got Aldebar in there with another 100 bits. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. The bits hype ongoing, and we have reached the level 5 train. 120% level 5 hype train. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. So basically what we did for Cosmic's flower, we are going to do for the hype train. So we're going to do a redraw of it, and yeah, make it nice and crisp. And like I said, eventually the plan will be to do that to Pipe Shark, Borlove. I'll probably do the teacup as well. It's just fun. It's satisfying for me to do personally, and I think it'll basically make it a more versatile graphic. You can use it for other things, and then yeah, that's my plan. So for now, we'll say au revoir, goodbye to Cosmic's flower. Alright, I've got it saved in my hard drive, so we're good. Don't save the changes that were made. Now we've got ourselves a clean slate here. And if anybody here or in the chat today has any questions about Adobe Illustrator itself, I'm happy to answer those as well, because like I said, I use it every day and I used to teach it. So I'm a fan of the application. Alright, so let's first thing we'll do is we'll go over to Photoshop. We'll back this up a little bit to where it was. So this is 100% size. So this is the size that the emote was drawn at originally, which is pretty small. Let's see, its resolution is. That's the resolution it came in, 130. Oh yeah, I forgot. I've got the zoom thing too. So yeah, it's 132 pixels per inch, which is not. Which is not a really high resolution to start with. So we're going to bring this over. Let's do a copy and paste. I'm going to merge this all together briefly. Copy, paste into Illustrator. Hype train, level 5 hype train, everyone. Thank you so much. That's amazing. I truly appreciate the generosity this morning. That is blows my mind. All the bits, so many bits from so many people. The gift subs, and just I have no words. It just, you know how to make a guy feel special. What can I say? Not a big deal, but you still have the Nightbot timer going for the Lego camper van you were building, unless you're building Lego and it's changed since the last time. That's good. Cool. Thank you for that, Cosmic. I'm going to just take one moment and go over and do that. So because it's set at a fairly regular timer, I think. So no need to have that come up. So this will just take a moment. And I don't want to be like necessarily seem like I'm being all secretive and shifty, but I think it's no need to show some login info while we're doing this. That's basically it. Okay, there we go. I do believe the timer has been stopped. We should be good. All right, so we're now going to paste this right in the middle of the space here. So, and again, you zoom in and we can see the pixels and how it is a much lower quality than we would need. I am going to keep Photoshop open though. Let's undo a few times there. Go back to the way it was when we first opened it. And this is partially because I forget and I want to remind myself of how small this emote needs to be. When you see when it gets down to teeny tiny size, the outlines sort of blended together. There are no crisp lines. And so one of the things I want to try to do with this is actually take... it's going to take the emote and shift elements of it a little bit, because I'm going to try to, with Adobe Illustrator and building this like from scratch as a vector graphic, I can make sure that these lines and things snap right to what pixel perfect artwork, as pixel perfect as possible. I know that seems weird that we're talking about pixels and vectors together. Well, maybe it's not weird for all of you, but basically this says, you can see here, 28 by 28 pixels. So basically I'm going to need to redraw this so that it fits in a 28 by 28 pixel space. But then we can, and then after that, we can scale it up and scale it down as much as possible. And depending how long this takes, I don't know, it's fairly geometric shapes. It should be pretty easy to reproduce. I am going to go on to the cart, and then even if we've got enough time, then maybe we'll look at doing a caboose or something, because I thought I've got a couple more emote slots now, and I thought that might be a nice one to do, is add a little caboose to the end. Shifty indeed. All right, so let's get started, shall we? Let's give myself... Let's just see how small this 28 by 28 pixel... Actually, let's first of all switch over to pixels, because that's... Since we're dealing with pixels... If anybody has any questions... Actually, maybe I'll bring this up. This might annoy people, but I also have a like a key command thing at the bottom. And so basically... or maybe I'll just turn that on and off when we're talking. So if anybody here just sees me clicking, or just things sort of happen, if you're interested in Adobe Illustrator and you see things just happening without it being obvious as to what I'm doing in terms of switching tools and things, if you're curious to know what I do to make things happen, just let me know, and I can turn that the key command thing back on if it doesn't get too annoying. All right, so we want to do 28 pixels by 28 pixels. Now we have a square there. We need to make sure that this train works in that square. So let's do a really thin stroke, 0.25 point, just so that basically it's there. But we don't need to. We don't need it to be really in our faces. It's just going to be for reference. I might have unlocked another emote slot for you with another bit badge I got. You did. Thank you. I forgot about that. So we need to talk about what that one should be, Cosmic, because. Given your generosity, you're kind of pushing the upper bit threshold and pushing the new emotes to be available. So that's, it's one of those things I'd like to an emote that's not channel appropriate, but I guess on brand in terms of channel. But since you're the one who got there, we should chat about what you would like to see as a Steven ESC emote. So the caboose I'll do as a regular one, because it makes sense to have, if the hype train is available to everyone who subscribes, it makes sense that the hype caboose is available to everyone who subscribes as well. Alright. Enough jibba jabba, Steven. Enough jibba jabba. Let's bring this... Why not? Let's bring this down to 28 pixels high, and let's do a copy of it. Again, if I drag it and hold Option, it'll duplicate the illustration or the object I have selected. Because we need to fit it in 28 pixels high, we're going to do that. Boop. We're going to work at reproducing this at 28 pixels high. So one of the things I do like about Illustrator is it gives you these alignment tools. So horizontal alignment to the left, centered right, and then vertical alignment to top, center, and bottom. You can also distribute things if you wanted things to be equally spaced apart, you can do that as well. But the nice thing about this is if I want this to snap to the left and the bottom, I can just click on this. Two objects selected, left and bottom. And the train is exactly where it's supposed to be. Which is grand, I say, grand. Rainbow Stair, done. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. Alright. That might be a challenging one to do, actually. It'll have to be a 3D set of stairs. Actually, that reminds me, I wanted to do okay, we'll chat. This is good. I appreciate it. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is just go around and quickly redraw, use the pen tool. So the pen tool is basically I can click around, click, click, click one after another, and then I get to the end and it finishes off a shape for me. So for a lot of the things in here, it'll be very handy to do. I think Illustrator feels a bit overwhelming. It can be every single Adobe application is overwhelming if you've never touched it before, because it's, for better or for worse, it's created for professionals, and so there are basically hours and hours of tutorials you can watch to learn every facet of the application. So I'll try to talk about it as simply as possible. I mean, clearly nobody's going to become an Adobe Illustrator expert after me just drawing an emote, but maybe it'll give you a sense of how you could use this. Actually, one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to bring up a grid so we can actually look at the pixel grid in more detail. So right now, nothing here snaps to the grid, which is not the end of the world, but we want to actually make this easier for ourselves. And so since we're in the, let's go close to the middle of the artboard. Actually, let's go really easy for ourselves. I don't want to start at 0, 0. I could, but if I start at 0, 0, let's turn the grid off. I'll show you. That means as we work on this, we're going to have gray to the top and the left, which is visually a little bit annoying to me. So I'm going to make the I'm actually going to place the artwork at 100, 100, because then I can just count easily from there. So if I wanted to, I could just move this down and then nudge it around, but it's hard to get it exactly right. So Adobe Illustrator has this reference point grid up here. I'm just going to click, say, I want to reference the top left grid. I think I'm going to keep this on for most of it. So I'm going to click on the top left grid, which means the top left of my artwork is what's being referenced right now, and right now it's at 0, 0, so I'm going to just highlight that text and put it at 100 and 100. There we go. This may mean nothing to most of you, but if anyone else has used Adobe Illustrator before, I like to frequently like to actually use this to make sure that I'm placing whatever graphic I'm creating at a very precise point. I'm very familiar with Adobe Pro Editor, but have not used Illustrator. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. All right. And so this application I'm using here is I actually bought a suite of applications for presentations and stuff. So the webcam that I've got going in the bottom left-hand corner, and this cursor display / zoom, they're both from the same company. This one's called Mirror Magnet for the webcam, and then there's Cursor Pro, I believe it is. Yeah, Cursor Pro. And there's also the key command one I was talking about. So basically, when doing tutorials, if you wanted to bring up the key combinations of whatever you're doing at any given point, so like you can see that I'm holding the space button while I click to drag around, and then if I'm pushing shift to do another thing. So maybe I'll leave the key command things on. But you make all of the forms. That's actually not a very easy thing to do, Jay Price. The form creator and editor in Adobe Pro or Adobe Acrobat Pro, I find that to be a cumbersome application when trying to do that. It's like, I'm impressed. Hats off to you, because that's where that application makes me grumble more than any other Adobe application. Delicious tea sip. Okay. So we've talked more. So I hold command. Okay, I don't even know if I need to go and explain the tools. I should avoid explaining the tools because it's easy to get caught up in them. All right, let's go to the pen tool. If people want in-depth chit-chat about the tools, let me know. Holding command and spacebar brings up the zoom tool. Not sure if it's easy to see the cursor over there on the left. It brings up a little magnifying glass. And then if I hold Option or Alt to change it to holding with the plus, and I can click and it zooms in, holding with the minus, and zooms out. So, all right. Going to the pen tool. We are now actually going to start drawing the artwork. No, we are going to change, right, preferences. And because I'm going to change the grid to be, or let's do 72, because it's 72 pixels per inch is pretty common, and we're going to divide it by 72. excuse me, this is going to make the grid look a little bit overwhelming here, but the nice thing about this grid now is you can see we've got, are those grid lines visible or are they too light on stream? I think they look visible. So basically you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's halfway, so 28 by 28. So this is the actual emote size. So you can see what I've got going on here is that the black stroke right along here is not a full grid line high. So when it gets shrunken down to smaller sizes, it just sort of blurs and disappears. It's not going to work properly. So I don't know that I want to make all of the lines 1 pixel thick, because then it's going to get really chunky, but I may try to keep them to be half a pixel thick. Or one other thing I was considering is getting rid of the stroke on all of them altogether and just seeing what it looks like using just the color division. That's what I'm going to try first, because then it's like, if I could do it just with the shapes and not with any outlines, then I think that'll look pretty cool. Grid for reference, cool. I'm very much enjoying just listening to you talk about something you really love. Thanks, Cosmic. It's probably easy to tell that I am super comfortable with the application, because it's like, this one is my favorite. Ever since I learned it in school back in the pre-2000s, this has been my favorite. It's just to be able to create a graphic that's just an illustration that's just crisp the way you want it, and then have it to be reproduce it at any size and it looks exactly the same quality. This is the type of application that's used for logos, so that you can put a logo on a letterhead to be 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, or to scale it up and be as big as you need it for on the side of a plane, for example. It makes me happy. Alright. And let me know if these key command things down on the bottom of the screen get annoying, because I do click around fairly often. Let's try... So we should snap to grid as well. That might be helpful. I'll not scrap. I'm just going to trace everything as well as I can for now, and then I'll probably look to snap things to grid afterwards. I don't want it to be too boxy, because all of these angles were just drawn freehand, and so there's no need for them to have been pixel perfect or snapped to a grid. But now that I'm redoing this, it'll be nice to change it a little bit. And so by default, these lines that I'm creating don't have a color attached to them. So they can have a fill color and a stroke color, but they don't always have a color by default. So if I don't do anything, if I just create the line and then click off of it, it just sort of disappears into the background. So I often like to give these tracing lines the color orange, because I find it shows up well on white and it shows up well on black. That's a little bit too yellow. Let's do 60. Yeah, let's do 60. That's good. That's way too thick, so we're going to give it a teeny tiny stroke of 0.25. Still too thick. Let's go 1.25 or 0.125. There we go. Righto. It's harder to take something you've already drawn and change it than creating something from scratch. It can be, but I guess doing something like logo design, you have to do multiple sketches to try to figure out exactly what you want it to look like, because sometimes I find it harder to render a logo if I don't know exactly what I want it to look like. But if I've sketched it and drawn it and refined that drawing, and then you bring it into a program like Adobe Illustrator and trace over, like basically I'm doing exactly the same thing I would for a logo tracing, create the final file, as I go in here and I would do all the lines, and then you can get rid of, like, turn off the drawing layer, and then you just go in and you fine tune and finesse all of the anchor points and everything afterwards. And I do love the fact that I can just click around, and if there's an anchor point there already, it'll just snap right over top of it. Now, one of the things I like to do for people who are familiar with Adobe Illustrator is the corners by default have a harsh edge on them, which is fine for a lot of the stuff you do. Oops. But what happens is when you reach a sharp corner like this, or you have two overlapping sharp corners like this, you can see that we've got a couple of points there, which is annoying. Speaking of annoying, I know what's going to happen. So I'm actually going to select the box I created and the graphic, and I'm going to lock them. And I guess I don't even remember where it is in the menu exactly. It's Command 2 to lock an item. But for those who would like to, I guess, a little bit more of the lesson side of things, if you open your layers palette, I've selected the image and the frame, so you can see that they are the two highlighted pieces over here. And so I can actually just lock those in the palette as well. And the reason why I'm locking them is so that I'm only actually changing the shapes that I've drawn, and I'm locking everything else in the background. For me, everything is fine as it is in terms of how you've got the visuals and settings set up. I'm more just watching you work than looking at anything else, to be fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. But just let me know though, if that gets annoying. Like if nobody's paying attention to the key commands and it just becomes visual noise, then I will turn it off. It's no big deal. You can see down here I made a mistake on the corner. Actually, if nobody's, yeah, let me know. If anybody wants them on, let me know. Otherwise, I will turn them off. See, I made a mistake down here when I was drawing it too quickly. You can control the curve of an anchor point using these handles. But I only want it to be a sharp corner. All right. So basically, what I was talking about with these the sharp corners here, there's actually an option for strokes where you can change the corner of them from being what's called mitered or squared off to a round corner, which I like to do for redraws because then it just takes the corner and rounds it. And so whenever two corners actually snap, like you've got two different corners and you put them over top of each other, because they're both rounded, then those sharp edges they don't exist anymore. So getting into the technical side of it, the radius for each of these are exactly the same, so the roundness just overlaps like that. As opposed to two sharp corners going like this, they just round and sit right on top of each other, which is just nice. All right. Okay, I have not heard anyone say that they want the key commands on, so key commands off. This is just a rectangle, so I'm just going to switch over to click on M to switch to the rectangle tool. So I'm going to turn off the grid just for a second while we do the initial redraw so that it's easier to see some of the other lines. I have something on called Smart Guides, which basically as I move my cursor around, you can see there's a blue line that appears there. That means if I started to draw right now, it's going to, the alignment is going to match to the bottom of that other shape, which is pretty convenient. So I can just click and drag, I should say, when that blue line is there. And that's the rectangle I need for that shape. It's fantastic. And then I can just come over so that I wanted the top of this to align with the other thing there. So we can just draw this rectangle as well. Good morning, Elkhorn. Welcome on in. Good to see you. Ooh, it's some fun emotes there. What are those? The little crowny dude? And Captain America love. Those are cool. Those are fun. Good morning, Your Mightiness. Indeed. Indeed, welcome. So right now I'm just drawing these relatively quickly so we can get the overall shape. But then I'm going to... then I'll go back and take a look at the grid because I've got this rectangle up here that I've drawn. But since the height of that rectangle is going to be exactly the same as the width of these rectangles, it doesn't make sense for me to draw them all necessarily at the beginning and then have to tweak them all. So what I'll do is I'll actually just draw a couple more shapes. And then we will get back to the grid. Actually, no, let's just do the grid right now. Let's just do that. So you're right though, J Price. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. Okay, I'll show you. Let me see if I can I unlock those? Yes. So so these are the shapes that we've drawn so far. That's it. And Fulmers is in the house as well. Hello! Hello. Also, lovely Peep. Good to have you here. So we're looking at the vector preview, as I mentioned. So this is actually showing you the crisp lines. But if I wanted to have a look at the pixel preview, you can see that this is not really... It's not really doing it for us, which is unfortunate. So if I wanted to take this this shape, for example, zoom in on it. All right, display rendering chugging a little bit with the stream going. Yes. So this is where, again, I'm going to get into talking a little probably more technical. And Ginger the Lily shows up with spare pants for anyone who might need them, who perhaps walked into a lake further than they planned on and got themselves a little bit wet. Thank you so much, Ginger. Your generosity with clothing and wardrobe is always appreciated. Welcome in, everyone. I think I've caught everyone who came in, so if anyone who's arrived and I missed, I do apologize, but we're doing a little bit of Adobe Illustrators this morning. So right now this looks probably weird for people who just arrived, but I'm now looking at the pixel preview of a vector graphic. So I'm trying to make the artwork for my train. Well, I'm going to make the artwork for my train vector graphics, which means they're infinitely scalable and the resolution stays crisp no matter what size they are. And so we're just looking at it and seeing how it's not not snapping to a grid, and it looks very pixelated. So what I'm going to actually do is go up here and just nudge things over to snap to being pixel perfect. And so the width of that we will make 12, and the height of that we will make just 1. So you can see now, suddenly, this shape, when everything snaps to the grid perfectly, it renders super crisply. So everything, it's 1 pixel high, 14 pixels wide. I meant to only make it 12 pixels wide, just 1 sec. But that's okay. So then and it's also because it's actually right on a pixel measurement. Like the corner of this starts at a whole pixel. The height of it's at a whole pixel, and then their whole pixel values up at the top. That's what I'm doing right here. So it starts at 115, 106, blah, blah, blah. Everything's a whole pixel value. So that's what makes this very crisp. And if I were to shove this off by half a pixel, let's put it 15.5. You can see suddenly the computer then has to figure out how to render this one part, like this 1 pixel is off by half. So it's going, okay, well, the center of that is orange, but outside of it is white. So I need to figure out how to make this look like it's both in and outside the shape in this square. That's why it's lighter. So this is the sort of thing I'm trying to avoid when I create the what? Yeah, it's weird. You can see it's super crisp and responsive, but for whatever reason, when I'm doing the pixel preview and streaming at the same time, it chugs a little bit. So instead of having this at 15.5 pixels, I'm just going to have it at 15. So bring up the grid again. Let's bring up those shapes we were looking at again and lock them back into place. So actually I need to put this to 114 and be 12 pixels. So I think that orange, it's funny, normally orange would be the color that I use because it stands out really well, but I'm just realizing I've used a lot of really bright colors in this, so it's not it's not blending as well as I would want. So I need to think of a different color other than orange. How would cyan, a heavy cyan do? Cyan's actually pretty good. Even though we used it over here, it's going to be... I want something bright though, so it stands out. I don't think we used any green in this. Let's do that. Okay. We'll do a medium green, or not a medium green. I don't know. I think cyan was the one standing out the best, so we'll go back to cyan. And now that these are whole widths of pixels, I can actually rotate this tool. Oops. Rotate and hold Option at the same time. We'll duplicate it. And now I'm also going to turn on Snap to Grid. This is not something I had done before. Actually, view. Did view? Yes. I usually use key commands for this. But this will allow me to actually nudge things into place. Exactly. And so now I can make that. Maybe we'll do 13 or 14 pixel size. I'll do 14 for now, which you may have to change. I can just drag this over. Pixel perfect. I love it. Alright. And so I'm going to drag, actually, I realize I'm flip-flopping a lot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take let's zoom out to actual size. I don't need this. Let's create a layer for the background. We'll call it background, or background resources. I'm a fan of using layers and naming them. When I'm going to do a quick illustration, I don't always use them, but when you're going to get into something more involved like this, it actually helps to plan things out. So I'm going to take the 2 train illustrations and put them into there. And I think we're going to lock the background. But I also want to make the background layer, it's called a template layer, so when you click on that, it dims everything down to 50%, which basically allows you to add shapes over top and have them stand out better. So that's something I'm going to do as well. But I think I want to tint that back even further. Let's go down to 25%. It is just for reference after all. Okay. Alright, so then what I am going to do is, next I'm going to drag down a shape, or drag down the shape while holding Option. This is where it's going to be interesting, because since we're going to snap things to grid, we need to figure out whether we're going to go to that grid or that grid item. So I'm going to we'll go up 1 for now. And I can drag this in narrower, drag that in narrower. So that's going to be the yellow bar across there, which is fantastic. And then I'm going to put that for the pink bar up at the top. So now I'm going to change my thinking a little bit now. I'm going to make all of the outlines in this, because I'm not going to be competing with color, since I've faded the background to be transparent. So then do you group things once you have them where you want them? I only group things if they belong together. Like if I might group the entire illustration when I'm done, but if it's only ever going to exist in Illustrator, I don't need to do that. But for I guess for an example, how I might group things in this illustration, if we went down to do the wheels here, oops, boop boop. How big is that? Out of curiosity, 5 by 5. All right, might have to make that 4 by 4 in the end. But since I was getting ahead of myself. So now that I've tinted the color back, I'm actually going to make all of the outline. I'm going to make everything an outline, no fill colors, and I'm going to make all of the strokes be black. And color for the stroke. That way they'll all show up quite well. Actually, let's do 0.25. Okay. So I guess to answer your question, Jay Price, if I had this shape here, and then if I had the little wheel hub, to me, this wheel, the outer circle and the inner circle, that's the wheel. And I need those 2 parts to move together all the time, because if I just grabbed this and moved it, then it's left behind. So I would highlight the 2 of these and group them, which is just Command or Control G, depending on which operating system you're using. And now if I just grab on either one of them, this is like, it's treated as one, it's not literally treated as one shape, it's seen as, it's technically 2 separate shapes, but it moves them together because they've been grouped. And which makes it handier as well, because if I click on this and drag holding Option, then it's going to allow me to basically do drag and duplicate, and it works quite well. So we're going to run into an issue here, because if we snap perfectly to the grid, then these wheels are going to be touching, and I don't know visually whether the wheels touching will be good or not, but it is what it is right now. And the nice thing about vector art, if we're happy with this wheel, we can just drag it over and over again. Basically, it can be reused multiple times. And so yeah, that's the size wheel we want. We're going to drag it every which way. So I'm going to just change it back to the 1 wheel right now, because I don't know that that's the one we want. I feel like this one might have to be slightly off pixel, or we might have to go smaller with it. If we went smaller and made it 4 by 4, that is a bit small, but it might give us more room around to play with it. Oh, and one thing, I know I changed the setting here if people care, but I usually have scales, strokes, and effects turned off, because now I made that smaller and the lines are thinner than I want them to be. So we're going to go back to, I think, everything the same thickness. So we're good. Does your tendency towards perfectionism, which is not a bad thing, help or hinder you when doing something like this? Helps. Yeah, it helps if I'm it helps if I'm not pontificating about it, because I enjoy the perfection of snapping things together. Like if we look at the these lines here, so everything that I've created for this part was all snapping to the grid, and the fact that, you know, I can zoom way in and that these overlapping lines right here are like, they are bang on perfect. And to know that regardless of the size that this is scaled, there's not going to be some like weird gap between colors showing. It's like this color or this object is right on top of the other one. Whereas you can see over here, these ones were drawn haphazardly. I mean, I drew them in and they were snapping to the anchors, so the top part's fine. But then when I drew this, you can see that these two lines right here don't overlap. So when trying to talk about it, it's hard to... The perfectionism slows me down while I'm talking about it, but in terms of actually creating a final professional piece, like it's... I'm not as creative as some graphic designers, but the level of precision I put into my work is one of the things I'm known for at my job, which is good because I like being precise, and people have appreciated me being like right on top of the details. So yeah, it's just when I'm talking about it, I get worried about the details. I forgot we want to make all the strokes curved, and that's not what they are. Oop, there we go. Done. All right. And so something like this, it's taking me a while to do this. We're almost an hour in, go figure, and I've barely done anything. But it's if I didn't have to talk about this, the train would be, like, the front and the back of the train would already be pretty much done. All right. It is going to be a little bit interesting because I am trying to make this pixel perfect. I'm just nudging things around. So I have... Okay. Because things are going to be closer to pixel perfect, then it is going to take me a little bit longer because I am redrawing it slightly so that it's crisper at small sizes. But I was going to say I do have snap to grid turned on, so as I use the arrows to nudge around, you can see, I'll use this as an example. If I nudge to the left, you can see the top left-hand corner of this shape right here. It's not on the grid, but if I nudge the whole shape to the left, it is going to snap to the grid. And then this one's not aligned to the grid in the top right, but I would go back. So it's having snap to grid turned on is very handy for this sort of thing. It makes it a lot easier if the entire thing is a whole pixel value. So I can make this 9 pixels high. Yep, and then we're going to go with a width of... I don't know that I want to go with a width of 11. That seems weird. Oh well, we'll do it. We'll go for 11 for now. Oops. 11. That's the difference between good graphic design artist and an okay one. If everything is precise, you know it was done well. Well, it's funny, one of the things I used to tell my students is, like, if you're precise and you've taken care of absolutely everything and it looks good, people think graphic designers just make things look pretty, but we're in charge. Like, when I went through school, we're considered visual communicators. There are a slew of graphic designers and advertisers that are all about promoting the product, manipulating people into getting, like, the advertising side of it is kind of, you know, promoting and manipulating people into buying a thing, whether they need it or not. But for what me and thankfully the rest of my team that I work with do, we're all about communicating clearly, presenting information in a hierarchy that's easy to absorb in terms of information, making sure everything is on brand for the place that we work, and also creating... Well, I guess one of the things about the precision as well that we all strive for is that working on a team, if I just did whatever I wanted to, and just made an illustration like, yay, this is great. And then somebody else comes along and says, okay, we've received a request for an illustration based on the one that you did, and they open my file and it looks like what we say, a dog's breakfast, then nobody can actually use that for anything. They almost have to start from scratch. But if we give, you know, a level of attention and care to all of the little things we do, even though it takes a little bit longer, the next time somebody opens up a file for reference, because it's all for the same company, you can basically pick up, and like the next time you have to do something similar, it's sometimes 10 times faster because everything was done properly. All the layers are there, everything's named, everything is, yeah. Mr. G streaming. Steven, good evening. Hope you are well. I am. Thank you very much. Thank you for popping in. Just doing an emote redraw today. If the design is sloppy, it drives me crazy. Yeah. And after I keep getting off track with this, but I'll go on some mini rants about my pet peeves that people do with logo design in terms of final file creation. So that, and seeing that having snap to grid here makes it very easy. If I know that I need to have the part that holds the coal in the back, I can just snap to the grid as I do it, which is pretty cool. That's for the orange part that's in behind the wheel. I'm going to redraw this piece right here. Rather than move it, I'm just going to do a redraw on it. And then we can draw the stair bits in the front. And then the thing I like about the pen tool is you can actually also click on a shape and add new anchor points, and then just drag them with this on, and they'll snap to the where you want them to go as well. Ooh, and that front part is done. Hooray! And we've got, maybe I'll move that to the left a bit. Oh right, I didn't fix the width of that. So we're going to make that, I think, 11. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Sorry, I pause every once in a while and look down, and it looks like I'm having a slow brain moment. It's because I'm checking to see if I've caught up on chat. So now for this circle, so this circle in the front here, this is not going to be able to be, if I want to keep it to being kind of circle perfect or a perfect arc from a circle, it's not going to snap to the grid perfectly, which is fine. I can just live with that. But this is basically 1/4 of a circle. So if I wanted to, I can just draw a circle. Actually, I'll move it over here for easy to see. Turn the grid off. It's made up of 4 segments. And just highlight one of them, so you can see that this arc here is just basically one of 3 segments. So if I delete these 2 anchor points, boop, and that leaves me with 1/4 of a circle, and then I can rotate it 45 degrees. That's basically it. And there are different ways I can join it, but I'll just do it so you can see it visually. The pen tool, boop. Oh no, it's not going to do it because of its snapping to grid. So if I turn off snap to grid, then I can go anchor to anchor. There you go. And now I can turn snap to grid back on because that's what we want it to do. And we'll come over here, nudge it around again, we'll go like that, boop. So if the height of this one is, what was it? Well, we might want to change this. No, we can center on it. Oh, I see some chat going by that I missed. My favorite things in life is listening to someone talk about something they love and are passionate about. Doesn't matter what the subject is. Oh, good. I'm glad. It's talk. Cosmic being very sweet with her comment, followed up by by Ginger being very sweet, but then hijacking for bacon. I understand. Cool. Well, thank you both to Cosmic and J Price. And of course, Ginger the Lily, we look forward to your TED Talk on bacon. It'll be deliciously informative. Listen to every word, exactly. Alright, so now I'm going to just make that 7 pixels high because it'll be centered on the 9, which is good. And then we can create another rectangle. Oops. Rectangle that will be... We'll actually do a square for now. So this square is actually going to be trimmed at the circle. So it's fine. It's good for now. Turn off this background layer and see what it looks like so far. So far, that's actually still looking pretty close to the original train, so that's good. I mean, it's lucky in the sense for this one, it's a very simple design. So we're going to actually move to get these to snap to the pixels. Let's and one of the things about things being drawn freehand, like I'm just going to flip this back and forth using the reflection tool. And this probably only annoys some people. You can see, if you watch the top of as I hit undo and redo, you can see how it shifts back and forth because it's not pixel perfect. It's the angle at the top of one of them is I'm exaggerating with my hands, but one of them is different than the other one, and same with the other underneath of that funnel as well. So it's not symmetrical, which drives me crazy. You just scare me with Big Bacon Monster in a DM and just. Yes, Cosmic. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. All right. So with this snap to grid highlighted, we're going to lose probably a little bit off the top. It's going to make the top thinner, which isn't terrible. Just something I need to be willing to deal with. That's on the pixel. Is that? That is not. And that's pretty close. And what I do a lot of the time, if I want something to snap to a grid, I will basically use my arrows to move away from it and then move back in, because if you just move into it for whatever reason, it doesn't always put it right on the grid mark, but if then you move it away and come back, it does for whatever reason. So go figure. I didn't make the application, I just work here. There we go. Let's turn this off again, see if that's still looking acceptable. I don't know. It feels like this is too thin now. That looks too chunky, so I guess we do have to go with 1 pixel. If we want to keep it on the pixel, we will have to go to 1 pixel. Sends Cosmic all the bacon. Aldebar is only a few states away. Oh, for the Big Bacon Jamboree. Alright. And now we need to get to the circles. The circles, now that I'm thinking about it, they'll probably have to change down here, but they'll have to be on the odd. Very likely on the odd, or even if we make the center circle big enough. So that's pretty much the size of that circle there. It's 10 by 10. And the center of it's there, so if we go like this, then we can make one that is 8 by 8. Magnificent. But then this one, can we make one that's 2 by 2? Yeah, if I make one that's 3 by 3, it'll be the closest to that size, but it won't snap to... It won't snap to the pixel. I will see about that one, because the circle may not matter so much, because it has to... It's not snapping to the grid on all angles anyway. Excuse me, so it may not be 100% important, so we'll just leave it like that for now. And we'll come back to it. And I just forgot I need to draw the support rectangle underneath. So 3 high seems to make sense. Although I am going to make the... It's Tuesday! It's Tuesday! Okay, now we need to talk about graphic designing for everybody with the Figment, because it's Tuesday, and I pushed the button so the 2-minute timer is on the way. So now, one of the thingy things that I realized you did not do the last time, if you take a look at the cart... Oh yeah, for those of you who may not been here before, this is what happens if somebody uses their viewpoints on Tuesday's child. And so, Volmers, thank you very much for using your viewpoints, and we can going like this. Okay, so, what I realized I did on the cart, being the second one, you can see I have this golden orange frame around the wheel part, which is very pretty. I wish I had remembered to do it for the first bit, but I don't have it over here. So I have the wheel support down here is gray, that it's moved up here on the one on the left. So what I might try and do, let's do it right now. Let's do it right now. Yeah. We're going to make it a little bit smaller. We come in like so. And then we are going to add another shapey shape to take the yellow frame around the wheels in the back. And we're going to try to put it in the front, just so there's a little bit more relation between the front and the back bits. Wondered who would be the first to do it. Well, there you have it. Actually, with the foamers, we can almost always count on a little bit of Tuesday love. Okay, now I'm going to take this super smashy pen. I don't know why it's smashy. It's just, it is what it is, peoples. And now I'm going to go like this. And now we have matching. We're going to have a matching yellow frame all the way around. Not easy to see that it is a separate shape, but I just drew it. I'll turn off the grid so you can see now what I just did. And that rhymed, and I did not mean it to. So this is basically what was in the back. What's the same look of the back, and I'm going to move it to the front. But that is good. Actually, when I do this, perhaps I can put this. Oh, that was loud, but that also means the 2 minutes is done. So thanks for using your 2,000 viewpoints foamers on Tuesday's job. Now we need to figure out though whether I want it to go. I'll have to play around with this a bit. Find out whether I want it to go all the way to the bottom of the cow pusher in the front. I realize that's probably not the technical term for it, but the cow pusher in the front was actually meant to be stairs. Go figure. Why would I ever do stairs? A lot of Eggman love, exactly. He's the top-notch designer. Doing this at work. Way to lose friends and that recent promotion. Talk like a cartoon character for your next presentation. That's funny. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and forth, I'm sure, for a little bit on how tall I want this to be, like whether I'll go 4 blocks high or 4 grids high or just 3 grids high. We'll see. Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. Now we got to figure out the wheels. We've talked a lot about the wheels. Let's actually we got to do it. If I make these wheels small, that'll work out well, but it won't snap. It won't be pixel perfect. I guess the question is, does that bother us? Well, I guess you can have it pixel perfect at 5 wide and 5 high each. The problem is that they touch. So the question isn't. The question is, does it bother us that they touch? Now the answer is I don't know. It bugs me a little bit, but it's either they go to down to 4. Let's leave them at 4 and see if we can be okay with that. And then just try to make this 2x2 to snap to the grid. That's not bad. I don't know exactly. It feels a bit much. If I make it 1 pixel by 1 pixel, then it's. If we look to the pixel preview for this, it'll take a moment to get there because, as I said, that chugs a little bit. Stairs? What are those? Only the top notches. I missed that. Come on, pixel preview. Why aren't you doing your thing? There we go. So why can I see that? Let me turn off the thing. Is it because I'm so zoomed in you can see the pixels? Yes, because I'm super zoomed in on pixel preview. Okay. So we're going to still do some nudging to make sure everything does not... so make sure everything does snap to the grid. So what we will do is eventually we will flip everything over to be not an outline. It'll just be a fill color, and we will see see how that looks. All right, see how that looks. Yeah, because if we do this, I like having the space between the wheels, so we're going to stick with that for now. But it makes me think that they should actually be higher. Or maybe not, because the axles could attach underneath and just not be visible how they attach underneath. And then we've got our a set of 2 wheels. They've got equal space between them. And this, again, going back to what Jay Price had asked, this is where I would group them together. So I can just move around the wheel. It stays together. I forgot to group the big wheel, but that's something I would do as well. 1, 2, 3. Group. Okay, so the front of the train is pretty much done. Now let's just change the colors of everything. For that, I'm going to actually unlock the back layer and move below. I'm going to move and make a copy of that down there. And let's turn off the template layer so I can, or actually what I'll do is I'll leave it the way it was, and then I'll sample the colors from Photoshop since I still have that, still have this open. No, that's after it's been shrunken down. Okay, let's go back to there we go. This will be the color reference for everything. So that is... Actually, I should remember that this is going to be by default, usually everything that I do in Adobe Illustrator, I should say traditionally everything I've done for Adobe Illustrator has been print related, so by default I have it set to be CMYK, but I do need to remind myself that not always going to be the case. So I'm going to that's going to switch the color profile, or color mode, to RGB. That way everything will be, basically the colors that I'll be choosing now will be truer to what they look like in Switch when the time comes. Alright, so that web color value was DeFad3E. No, I don't know what that is. That's just the hex code, so we're going to take said hex code because it's easier to do just a hex code. Bring it out over here. So we're going to fill that, just RGB over here, with that color. Awesome. It has been filled. So, and because this is one of our main colors, I'm actually going to create a series of swatches. By default, when you open up Adobe Illustrator, every document has all of these default swatches. I almost always choose select unused, which is basically all of them. Say yes. Get rid of everything. Nope, you be gone too. Nope. Nope. I don't think I get rid. Yeah, I can't get rid of registration. But like all of the default swatches have nothing to do with almost every single project I work on. So you can actually create documents that have I'm just going to call it HT for Hype Train Gold. And there you go. So you can create documents, like basically give yourself a save over the default documents that are built into Adobe Illustrator with your own that have a custom color palette built into it. So the organization that I work for has a custom color palette, and so now every time I open a document, it just comes up with a custom palette, which is handy. What is the difference between the two color modes? So CMYK, sorry if everyone knows this already, but or sorry for those of you who know it already. For those of you who don't, CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Those are print colors, so those are the inks that would be on like a laser printer or an inkjet printer. And the other, and RGB is red, green, and blue, and those are light values. So basically, a little bit of color theory here, but when you're looking at a printed page, if the page is white, that means all colors of light are bouncing back at you. How can I say this in a way that's easy? I guess the simplest thing is CMYK are print colors, so you can mix cyan, magenta, yellow, and black and get not every single color that exists, but a huge range of colors that are required to make up a good color spectrum for printing applications. RGB is since those are light mixed colors, that's what your monitor is made up of. So if I picked CMYK colors, they're colors that would look good for print, but they don't give you the same richness as you could get with RGB. RGB is has a much larger color spectrum. So limiting yourself, making an image in CMYK that's going to be displayed in RGB, you're basically limiting yourself in the number of colors that you could choose. The downside is if you create something in RGB and you go, this looks amazing, and then you flip it to CMYK, all of the color options get clipped because there are fewer color mixes that cyan, magenta, and yellow, black can make up. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but CMYK for print, RGB for screen. That's what I could have said at the very beginning, but that's a little bit of background as to why that is the case. Alright, so let's lock those background layers again. Good question though, Cosmic. This is where I'm not sure about what I want to do with color choices, because I can just go through and select all of these. All of the things that are going to be gold, I can just select those. So by having them gold with no stroke applied to them, they may just blend together a little bit, which is a bit of a drag. So you're not supposed to be that color. You're supposed to be red. And what color is that red? Grab that. So make you RGB as well. Red, and we make a swatch of that. Call it Hype Train Red. Woot woot. Thanks. I knew what RGB was, but hadn't heard the print colors called that before, or at least I hadn't put it. But hadn't put it together. Gotcha. It all has to do with like the cyan, magenta, and yellow, black. It's reflective color. So basically, it's the way the light hits. Or maybe for people who don't know color theory, the reason you see blue on a page is because when light hits it, all of the light that's absorbed. Sorry. All of the light colors that are absorbed except for the color blue that bounces back at you. That's how we see things. Like if for black absorbs all color. So you don't see any color because any light that hits it just gets absorbed into it. I believe it's part of the reason why you feel hotter when you wear black clothes, because when the sun hits your clothing, it's absorbing all of that heat, like all of the light that's staying there. But with white clothes, it'll actually bounce the light off. So white actually reflects every single color. So whenever you see all colors reflected back at you into your eyes, it's because it's bouncing off a white surface. It's not exactly how I wanted to word that, but that's kind of it. Alright, so this is going to be a little bit weird. Yeah, so these cross members are gold as well. So we are going to lose a little bit of something taking all of the outlines off. So I don't think I want to do that entirely. It just means we're not going to be able to have everything pixel perfect. Maybe I can make things like half pixel perfect or something. Alright, what color do we got here? Is it straight up magenta? Oh, it's almost straight up magenta, but not quite. Ahead of myself. What the color value is. Boop. And we take said booped color and then we make a new swatch. Train pink. I can just use the eyedropper tool to select different colors. So we'll be able to color in a lot of different things quickly this way. But yeah, so when we get down to the wheel here, this is going to be a bit of a problem, because if I make the entire thing pink, and I don't have those black lines on it, then you're not going to see the separation between them. Alright, we are going to have to think a bit. We're going to have to think this through a little bit more. Let's just turn off that background layer for now and just see. So and that wheel should be in the front. So I'm just going to move that to the front so it's above everything else. Thinking on a Sunday? What? Explicitly asked for no thinking on Sundays. I know what you mean though, Ginger. And this is one of the things I did not catch. Look at that. There's a gap there, so something here is not snapping to the grid properly. These bottom ones. So I did not move away from them and then move back. There we go. And now are they correct? Yes, now they snap exactly on the line. Lovely. So I gotta figure it out. So either I'm going to add a black outline to this, or I can add some. Maybe what I'll do is I can add some shapes to it, which will act like gradients, which will then just offer a little bit of visual separation between them, but not actually require a things to move away from being snapped to the grid. Mind the gap, exactly. People didn't move the pixel around, so the gap is there. Okay, so that gray, pretty medium, fairly standard medium gray, I guess. Yeah, it's 66 straight down, so we can grab that easily enough. Your gray color. I don't think we'll do I don't think we've got a light gray, so we'll just call it gray for now. And that goes at the back, behind the wheels. These wheels are actually supposed to be pink as well. I think that's basically, other than the smoke, that's basically the front of the train drawn. And then if we wanted to draw the back of it as well. Let's do the back quickly, because now that we've got our grid figured out, we've got our colors figured out, it's not going to take very long to draw at all. And I think that's, actually let's turn off the working layer, I think. Oh no, there's the window, right. We put the window in. And the window, kind of that cyan-y color. One on there. Cancel. There we go. Sorry, my world in my brain there for a moment. I'm going to change the color of that to RGB. There we go. No. We don't want that. There we go. Hey, Danny. Good to see you. Welcome on in. We're playing around in Adobe Illustrator today and redrawing the hype train emote. Because I enjoyed, and that's fun. The swatch. We're going to create a new swatch based on that window. Call it HT Cyan. Or Hype Train Cyan. Yeah, so Danny, I'm not sure how long you've been hanging around in chat, doing a little bit of lurking, but basically what I want to do is make pixel perfect artwork. Or I'm trying to make, okay, I'm vectorizing the artwork for my hype train, which basically means changing it from a pixel-based graphic to one that I can vectorized that I could scale indefinitely and not have to worry about the resolution at all. So, yeah, so that's what I'm in the midst of doing. So now that we've got the grid figured out, let's just be 1 by 1. Feels like that should be a 1 high by 2 wide. But how are you doing today, Denny? Good to see you. Okay, that's going to be gold. We can essentially pull this all the way over here. And one of the nice things about vector artwork is that it's easy to reuse shapes. So because I just created this already, I can just pull it over. So like that. Get this red rectangle, which is probably going to be, might be all we need. This vertical gold. That's interesting. I don't know whether I want that to be just 1 pixel in or 2 in. 2 in feels fairly far, so we'll just, I guess it comes down to how does this distribute along here, I guess, is the real question. So this, I guess this is what I was talking about earlier. We've got the alignment tools at the top, but we can also basically there's alignment tools as well, or distribution tools. So I can have them all spaced evenly, which is handy. But when we want things to snap to the pixel grid, we'll be able to see whether it's working or not. And it is not. Danny just joined and will be lurking for a bit before power issues strike again. Oh, that's a drag. Those ongoing power issues sound like such a nuisance. Sorry that you have to go through that. Alright, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 3, so up to 23. Move this over. And move this over. And that. What do we have for spacing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that gives equal spacing around. But that means that not centered. So one of the things we could do to keep that spacing consistent is make it look so thanks, Cosmic. I hope so, seeing as what I get paid to do. I can now I can keep these windows all exactly the same size, just dragging them over like that, and I can bring over the cyan window. And that's going to be the same. Then we can bring over the magenta bar. Oops. And that'll be the same there. Then we can bring over. Keep doing that. My apologies. In Illustrator, you can hit Command D, and it's basically the duplicate button, so it duplicates whatever your last step is, and I'm kind of making it go further than I need it to. So what happens here now, or what's going on here now, is I have more space at the back here, right there, than I do at the front, which is sort of annoying in terms of trying to keep things symmetrical. So I can either what should I do? Well, okay, there's one thing I could do. I could either take the front, I could either extend this part further 1 block, or like to the left 1 block, which means the connector between the two of them will be smaller. But then I would have the same amount of ledge at the front and the back, which is maybe instead of losing space, maybe what I'll do is this. It just means things will be a little bit cozier up at the front, but that'll be all right. Very much a nuisance, but it has been less problematic this week in general, thankfully. Well, that's good. Does it seem like it's something that's going to end anytime? For one, does it seem like it's going to be something that may end ever, or is it just And if so, is it going to be soon, hopefully, for you? I can't imagine. That's just hard to... I can't imagine being somebody who relies on... Well, I mean, if it's straight up electricity and not like... If it's power outages and not internet outages, then that affects everybody. I just can't imagine living like that. Yeah. I'm sorry that you're having to deal with that nonsense. Now I can bring this shape over as well, and then just scoot it smaller. Oops, nope, that's the wrong one. Make this smaller so that it goes in behind. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wide. Not what I would have guessed, but that will do. I just need to move these wheels. I should move the wheels to the left. No, there's something about... Let's put the colored wheels in, first of all. Oh, it won't go away. Bad and old infrastructure and corruption. Yep. Well, that is a drag. I'm sorry to hear that, Danny. Just trying to think now. First of all, let's make these wheels the same color as the other wheels. Hello? Why did you do that? Oh. Oh, contents has... Right. Not have... This is where it gets... This is, Jay Price, I'm not sure if you're still there. This is one of the things that gets a little bit confusing to manage sometimes. Is when you group... And I guess this might be just techno babble that nobody cares about, but you can actually apply a fill color and a stroke color, among other things, to an individual shape. But then if you group those shapes, you can also add fill colors and stroke colors sort of on top of that get applied to the group as a whole and not just individual shapes. So each individual shape can have a color, but then you can have an overall color tweak applied to the group, which is difficult. Excuse me. That's what's happening right here is these wheels are colored based on the group. So if I double click on group up here in the palette, the colors are actually applied to it. But if I double click on contents, the contents of that group have nothing applied to it. So it gets a little bit difficult to manage that sometimes if you're not careful. So let's remove. So just strip that down to nothing. Group has nothing, and we've added the 0.25 stroke there, and we're going to make it pink again. So now this, oops. Come on, you can do it. Okay, there we go. Cool. So then you can change all of the panels at once. Yes, if I had all of the panels grouped at once, I could change them all simultaneously. But one of the things that I do love about using swatches, when I created a swatch, I've got pink, these wheels highlighted, so pink is the color that's highlighted in the swatch palette right now. So basically, when I create a swatch, you can choose to click on or off global, and global means you've created a swatch that is, if you change it, it gets changed everywhere that you placed it. Like for example, if I decided I no longer wanted pink wheels, I think they would look better as a green, then I could turn green up, crank down the other ones. I think we want a bit of blue and yeah. If I decided I wanted to do that, I could either have the preview button selected and you would see the change happening, but basically these two wheels on the left, I have those selected and they changed green, but because this big wheel was also it was also tagged with the global pink color, that it changed automatically. So that, for me, that would be the easiest way to actually, those green doesn't look bad. And these bits up here as well were pink. And so that's how, if I wanted to change the overall color, I would use it I would probably do it using swatches. I guess it depends. If I wanted to keep a swatch color and then create a new one, then I guess that's the way you do it. But the nice thing about groups is it just, for me, the thing that I like best about groups is it allows me to keep shapes together. Like now that I've created these, these two wheels here. And if I know that these two wheels are going to appear all together all the time, I can now group those as well. It can get a bit confusing if you're not used to groups, because now I've got, if I go down to in my palette over here on the right hand side, you've got two small groups within a larger group, and so you have to sort of remember the layers of groupings you can do. You can have, as far as I know, an infinite number of groups within a group within a group within a group, which can be very handy, but also difficult, hard to manage if you don't remember how they're stacked. Exactly. You got it, J Price. You got it. Right. So now, actually, since we made the changes to those other wheels, let's just group those. Now we can just stop moving around. I use a Wacom tablet for work, and it's a touch Wacom tablet, so sometimes when my forearm or my wrist brushes against the side of it, it'll do a weird panning thing like that, which is a little bit obnoxious, but not the worst thing. Just more of an annoyance than anything else. All right, so that's pretty close. Oops, sometimes if I drag a shape over and I forget to hold Option, then it just drags the shape over instead of making a copy. Now I can just drag this into place. Go over there. Actually, we can pretty much use this roof piece again. We'll go up one since it's too high. Nudge it over one. Nudge it over again. Oops. There, other than the coal in the back. So now I hope it's easy to see on stream. So I've turned preview outline mode on, so you can see all of the outlines that just going in slightly more preview mode here. There. So I've turned off all of the rulers and things, so we can just look at this for now. So these are all of the outlines of the shapes that I created. You can see that they're pretty darn close. Most of them are pretty close to where the original ones were, but they're now snapped to a grid, so they will reproduce better at smaller sizes. Like the smallest size is 28 pixels by 28 pixels, and that's sort of what I'm working at. I'm not going to be able to get all of the nuances in that I wanted to, so it's a bit of a drag. So now what I may do is, a lot of this work has been done to make it look as good as possible at 28 pixels by 28 pixels. Now I've got to add some stuff in so that we can get some separation of shapes, and it can look a little bit better when it's scaled up to one of the other sizes. So that's what I'm going to try to do now. It is a lot of groups, Cosmic. You are correct. No, not the grid Tron reference. Exactly. Mini Packs, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome on in. Appreciate you being here. I do apologize I missed your last stream. We were doing a family-related thing, so I didn't get to see your first stream ever. I do apologize, but congratulations on joining Twitch. A lot of fun. How did your first stream go? I still do plan to go back and check out the VOD, but let me know how it went. How did it feel? I guess that's a good question. How did your first stream feel? And then, so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bit of separation between all these shapes. And what I like to do sometimes is add a bit of a gradient. So this looks weird. This is going to be I'm going to create a gradient block. So a gold gradient block first. So I'm going to make it gold. And then I'm going to have it blend. Oops, blend. Stop it. Okay. So in this gradient, I'm going to bring down do the thing. Okay, I brought down the gold, so I'm going to get rid of... Yep. So one of the things that's tough about using Wacom Tablet with Adobe stuff lately, I don't feel like they've updated the software properly, so that whatever key command I've hit most recently, Control, Option, or Shift, it sticks, and it just... So when I've let go of it, it still thinks I have Shift clicked, and it just makes things really obnoxious. And I did not think that was the case originally, but it happens on this keyboard. I thought it was a keyboard issue, but it happens on the keyboard I'm using and the previous one, both which are brand new, so it's really frustrating. Yes, thank you for the shoutout, Cosmic. That's awesome. No worries at all. It seemed to go really well, thanks. Felt natural after the first bit of manic panic. That's the best way to describe it, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a thing, but I'm talking while I'm doing a thing, and people can see the mistakes I'm making, and it's just, I remember the manic panic. That is an excellent way to describe it. I still have days where it feels like that, where it's like, oh man, things are not clicking the way I need them to click for people who are watching, but it's funny. Yeah, well, I'm glad that moment passed and you were able to enjoy it. This one also really enjoyed it. Nice. That's awesome. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a gradient step down for the gold. So if you think about the structure of this train, this platform that goes along the top would probably have a little bit of... Well, you can see that it has overhang in the front and the back, but it probably would have an overhang to the left and the right as well. So what I'm going to do is create a shadow piece. Probably should have kept the black. So I have, right now it's just solid yellow, or that solid gold color. So what I'm going to do is actually double click on one of them, and we are going to make, we're going to change that a little bit. And actually, what if I just made it black? We're going to get into something a little bit more. What was the color previously? Let's just do gold. Let's do black and gold. Let's try that. But if I change the opacity of that black down to 50%, no, that's not going to work. Okay, let's leave the whole... So what we'll do is we'll adjust the transparency of the entire thing. So first of all, we're going to take this block and I'm going to rotate it. Like so. Come on. Oh, why would you do it that way? Why are you... Oh, because snap to grid is on. Okay, we're fine. We're going to use the command here. 90? Yes, please. Cool. And then we're going to take that... Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Okay, I've changed my mind. So what I'm going to do is make one universal gradient shadow box that can be used everywhere. So right now I've created a gradient that is gold on one side, black on the other. And so what I'm going to do is actually create one that's black on both sides, but I'm going to turn the transparency on the second side all the way down. So now it's black at one edge, see-through at the other edge. So regardless of which color I put this over, it'll work. So now I can use the same shadow piece for the magenta and the gold or the red or anything like that. So what I'm going to do just to refine this a little bit more is I'm trying to keep things to like a pixel or a half pixel as much as possible. And so instead of having the gradient go all the way down, I'm actually going to move the transparent part to 50%. Actually, no, that's not. I take that back. I'm going to actually, but what I am going to do is change the opacity of the black down to 50, just so it's not so harsh. There we go. Alright, cool. Now I can move that shadow piece basically wherever I want it to go, and it's going to add a little bit, without having to have the outlines and everything, it's going to add a little bit of depth to it, which is cool. So we threw your pants in the honor. Well, I'm sure McScrewgun did, at least. It seems like the kind of thing he seems like a very McScrewgun thing to do. That's funny. So now I can drag the shadow piece over to here. Basically boop that along. And it creates shadow, which is fantastic. Because I don't need separation between the pink and the gold, I can just worry about separating, like creating the same sort of overhang shadow from the other ones. Which is cool. I like it. And then likewise, if I wanted to create some vertical separation, I can bring it down here and rotate it 90 degrees. And we've got that. We can do that as well. Seems a little bit more extreme. I don't know if that's... Maybe that's too dark. Makes it look like it's a little bit rounded. Let's see if we can... I'm going to select the same appearance. Got all of that. Let's see if we can... I'm going to change that to multiply. That's just a transparency setting. I think might make it a little bit... Made no difference whatsoever, Steven. Alright. Okay, let's go to the gradient, though. I'm going to try to drop that down even further. Make it 25%. Turn off the image layer in the background. Command D is the best shortcut in Illustrator. Exactly. Oh, mini pack. So you know Adobe Illustrator. That's cool. Actually, if I wanted to make... I don't know if I want those to be darker shadow or not. I don't feel like I want it to be that dark here. So maybe what I can do is I'll actually... I'll have two different gradients on the go. I'll tone these ones down. Oops, not that. We'll make that 25%. And I will also shrink down the shadow a little bit. There we go. That's better. Now I can just drag these along here. Cool. I like that. And then since this foot plate is out wider, this will be a little bit of a weird one, but the foot plate is out wider than I imagine these would be. I'm going to bring them down and then just reflect them. Typically you wouldn't have shadow down here, but it's I want to have a way to separate it out a little bit more. Actually, let's do... Instead, let's bring down this one. We don't need to introduce a lot of shadow, we just want to introduce a bit of separation. There we go. Oops. Sorry, I missed a little bit. What did I miss Cosmic saying? Disturbance in the ginger light seek better. Nice. Graphic design and illustration in Uni many moons ago, but I still use Illustrator all the time. Nice. It's my favorite application. I love it. I don't know why the rotate. Oops. Rotate's giving me a bit of grief there, but that's fine. We can deal. Now this is where it's interesting because now I think... Oh wait. So this is making me actually think that I want to move this to the right now. Like that. I don't know. Like also just realizing that I did not move the wheels to the left. Does it look weird though? That seems like a huge gap in the middle now. I don't know how I feel about said gap. Abandoned Wakeham for a Huan now. Interesting. How do you... When you say you may have, are you on the fence as to whether or not you're going to stay with it? Or you've definitely abandoned it and you're very happy you did? Turn off snap to grid for a second so I can actually... I don't want this to snap to the grid, I want this to snap to the shape. I'm just going to do that. Then we will turn snap to grid back on. This one I want to actually be round, so I'm going to actually, for it to appear to be somewhat round, so I am going to put that shadow at the top and the bottom like that. Maybe I'll do this. I don't have to do this, but I feel like... nope, wrong one. Adding a bit of a shadow underneath here as well might be kind of a nice thing. I guess then the question becomes, do I want to do that all the way around to make it look inset everywhere? This is where it gets, like, getting to the obsessive part. Is it worth it? It's looking pretty snazzy if we do that, though. We got a Hue on display tablet, and adore it compared to my old Wacom, so I'm staying with you at least until Wacom. Interesting. Good to know. We're making this all a little bit more 3D now. It wasn't what my original plan was, but it's looking pretty snazzy, so why not? Oops. One too far. What is it that you do for, I forget if I asked, I apologize. Mini packs, but what do you do for a living that would prompt you to buy said wonderful equipment? That's fun. Makes it pop a little bit more. Makes it look more like an intentional thing. It's trying to turn on. Alright, this is cool. So it's actually looking a little bit... You can see that the solid colors are now snapping to a grid a little bit better than they used to. So this, I think, at a small size at least, is an improvement over the previous one. So that's kind of cool. Nice. Thanks, J Price. Alright, Danny. Thanks for popping by again. Hopefully the headache of power outages will be kind to you today. Hopefully. Appreciate you stopping by, though. Oops, there we go. Maybe I'll actually put these little insets up in the pink as well. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I'll just... Gosh darn it. I do like how that's making everything look a little bit more 3D-like. It's nice. Yeah, thanks, Danny. I appreciate you using your little window, part of your little window of power, to come and check out the stream. I really do. So, thank you very much, and take care of you. So one of the nice things about this is that now I can go down to the wheels here and basically get rid of the stroke on them. So I guess one of the things, like, depending on how you want to illustrate this, so right now I've been doing this with multiple shapes, and there's part of me that makes, there is a little bit of me that makes, this makes me cringe, because I'm a fan of using as few shapes as possible to do illustrations, but since I'm trying to do this quickly, and I want to have the same step of gradient in every area, it's just easier to use it as a single shape. You can actually create gradients within a shape. So I would have a black end here, gold in the middle, black at the other end. But it's just, it would take too long on stream to do. So actually, let's bring you both over. I'm gonna do that. So here's I was thinking that this was gonna be like a piece of cake and take no time at all, but I forgot that I'm a wordy dude. I'm a wood and leather working Wood and leather worker, making mostly tabletop. Oh, that's right. I actually did visit your the website the other day. I had gone to your channel after the stream, and saw in your about section that you've got the leatherworking thing. It looks very cool looking stuff. Very cool looking stuff. You use Illustrator to do product mockups and custom fabrics, etc. That's very cool. I'd love to see that. I would love to see that approach actually to using Illustrator, because you may be like me. Sometimes you get used to being like I would dare say that I am very, very efficient in using Illustrator the way I need to use Illustrator, but it doesn't mean I'm the best at it. So I'm kind of curious to know how you would go about using it. I don't know if that's a good. I should probably just leave that alone. Do this. Add a little bit of gradient here along the back side of that. Kind of cool. I'm going to move these grays to the back as well. We can do that. Okay. Obsessed with custom fabrics. Interesting. I would not have. So when you mean custom fabrics, do you mean like the actual, like a repeating pattern? You're creating a pattern swatch that is a repeating element type of thing, or is it more like applying a texture to the leatherwork itself? I love watching these streams like yours for picking up. Ah, thanks. It's yeah, since you know Adobe Illustrator, or if you have any questions or whatever, then feel free to ask. I was talking about the little things that I do at the beginning, which I'm still happy to do. It's just, I don't know that it means a lot to most of the people who are watching. Let's do, oops, instead of doing that one, let's bring that up and that up. Get a little bit of a round edge. That's kind of nice. So not the original intent to put the round edges on things like this, but I am kind of liking the nice little touch that it gives everything. I guess that means that if that's rounded, then I will need another shadow there. And bring that one down like that. Separate that piece a little bit more. Does that mean I? Leave that there for now. I don't know how I feel about this little area shade-wise yet, so we'll keep an eye on that. I do like putting these little curve bits in there. That's making me happy. Actually, then this could be actually not go all the way down. So I'm just talking about the shading aspect of this out loud because I'm figuring out as I go along, but thanks for putting, oh, what is it? Thanks for putting the link in your about panel on the Twitch, because making it easier for me to find so I could share. Exactly, yeah. Repeating fabric mostly unless it's a special request for a large single design, then in the printing by the meter. Interesting. Very cool. I don't even know if I want a shadowed right there. That feels like that could just remain as is, a connector piece. Alright, we are running out of time, or running low on time quicker than I thought we would. Not the worst thing, but so let's do... I'm going to make this look a little bit rounder. We'll go up a little past halfway like that, since it is supposed to be like a half circle kind of thing. This will be a little bit interesting. And try to do the same thing here, but because this is a round piece at the front. Oh, interesting. I don't know about that. I want that to look a little bit round as well, but maybe I'll leave it there for now. This one is odd in the sense that I want to make that piece in the front look a little bit round, but because it doesn't snap to the grid, I'm actually going to have to punch the two of these out of each other using the Pathfinder tool. One of the ones I love the most is intersect, because it takes basically where the two shapes overlap, it will punch out everything that's not used and just keep the shape in the middle. So I created the shadow at the height I wanted it to. Although it rotated it, which was bizarre. That's okay, we can go back in and do it. And then when I have to do something like that, I will always, if I know that I'm going to be punching a shape out like this, and I don't need the remaining shadow piece, but I do need the yellow piece behind. So what I had done originally is I selected that, hit copy, grab the two of these, punch them out, and then I just hit Command B, which is paste in behind, so that it's exactly where it was before, but just in behind. So that shadow rotated on me, so I need to actually go back and put that back to, what is it, 90? Not 9, that's for sure. Probably negative 90. Yes. Looking a little bit 3D, that's nice, nice. Oh, it's just Nightbot. Like, did I miss things in the chat? No, just Nightbot being wordy, that's all. And so for this one, it's going to be a little bit interesting as well. So we are going to now take, I'm going to take that yellow shape that we had in the background, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to move it to the very front. Actually, I could just move it to the front instead of worrying about punching it out. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just move, actually, I'll just take these two shapes and move them back in behind the yellow. There we go. That's fun. Looking pretty cool. And if you look at the pixel preview of that, that is also still looking very cool at a small size. I like it. Neat. So now we just need to sort of address the wheels that we got going on here. So yeah, this is, of course, everything always takes longer than expected. Especially when you're yammering on about it in chat. So this is good that we have all of these shapes now aligning perfectly to these pixel lines, so it's going to look good at a small size. And out of curiosity now, I just want to see what this would look like. We took this and hit scale 200%. Oops. Okay, this is cool. This is the quality we're getting now at medium size, which is definitely better than it was. So neat. Doing this work to get it, putting in the effort to get it look good at a small size is just allowing it to look good at larger sizes as well. Yay! All right, appreciate the Ginger. And Aldebar, I may have missed you bowing out, because you always bow out around this time, and I apologize if I missed that, good sir, even though you're not here. Thinking about you. That looks really good. Thank you. It's fun. It's yeah, it's just an enjoyable thing. I like it when it turns out as expected, or sometimes better than expected. It's fun. I don't know if I need. I don't know that I feel I need any kind of gradient thing on the window, but it might be. Let's just see what would it look like if we added a bit of shadow here. Since it is it would be the most inset thing. Rotate those. Oops. Can't select the thing underneath. I'll have to go to outline mode. That's one of the things I do like. I do use outline mode a lot for as well, is that if I have two overlapping things and I can't grab one thing because it's technically placed underneath it in the illustration, if you go to outline mode, you can just use it to grab whatever outline you want. Or the outline of whatever shape you want, I should say. Come on, don't be like that. Yeah, I think adding that little inset does make it enhance the look a little bit. Did I did forget to copy drag it, so we'll put that back up there. And now we will move these over. Not you. No. Drag along. So this is a messier illustration overall than I would like, as I was saying, with the gradients and gradient and stuff. But it makes it easy for me to do it quickly. It's not my usual MO. Alright. I'm going to put a little bit of a round edge on the front there. I might put a more aggressive round edge on the front. Let's use that rotated. I don't know why I feel to have the need to have a more aggressive one in the front. This feels like it's what I want to do. Go back and watch the start to see how you pixelated that. Not sure if pixelated which one. So basically, this started off as a pixel drawing that I had done using Procreate on my iPad. And so I've been thinking about these illustrations that I've done, like the all of the emotes that I have. I'm going to flip them eventually all over to vectorized artwork so I can put them on t-shirt. So I just wanted to start with the train one, and I guess talk about it, Adobe Illustrator in general, as I was doing it. And so I'm using the grid in the background, and I've got the artwork is aligned exactly at 100 pixels and 100 pixels, so it allows me to count out and basically over and down by exact pixels, and then using the grid in the background. So it's basically just I traced over this, and then nudge things over to snap to the grid is all. And stickers, exactly. Thank you. Actually, I was planning on doing stickers as well. And now I can do a sticker sheet where some are small and some are large, and I can scale them to be whatever I want. And the illustration will stay just as crisp. Thank you, Jay Price, for the reminder, because that is one of the things I wanted to do. All right, so let's finish these wheels. I keep talking about the wheels. And if we finish those off before the end of the day, then we're kind of golden. That's all we needed to do. Yes. Although I flip-flop back and forth on whether or not I want to have the gray thing go all the way along the bottom. It's pretty heavy looking. And we've got, oh, Moon Girl's gonna shake her finger at me. Forget. We either have a cricket. No, we don't have a cricket. We've got a silhouette. So we have a vinyl / sticker cutting device in the house as well, and it's a lot of fun. So if I could do, create the stickers, print the stickers, and cut them out, be fun little mail-outs for people who've been subscribers and stuff. Sorry. Wait, did my microphone come? It did. Okay. Did the mute work? My mute button does not work. That's fantastic. What? Why do you have a mute button, Steven, if the mute button doesn't work? Oh well. Okay, enough yammering. Let's get rid of these groups of wheels, because I'm going to have to basically... I'm going to do one wheel, and then I'll just move it along. Move it along, wheel. Nothing to see here. So move that to the front so it's easier to see. You have a silhouette too? Nice. All the silhouettes. Indeed, indeed. I'm going to take the stroke off of the shape. And we are going to add... Actually, let's keep the stroke on. Can I do this? I haven't done a lot of applying gradients to strokes, but from what I understand, I can do this. Let's try a gradient stroke then. Okay, that worked. Apply gradient across. So, okay. Long stroke. What are those differences again? Apply gradient within stroke. Oh, gotcha. A long stroke, or the one we want, which is across the stroke, which means that you can do it from the outside in. And flip that, and that's good. And can I come up to stroke and do? Oh, this is a drag. Okay, so right now, what I was hoping is we have a. Basically, I've got my outer shape, and I wanted to have that like the face of the outside of the wheel being pink, and then having a shape smaller than. Actually, no, I can do it. Okay, 1 second, folks. Processing. At 1 point, that's too big. So we take it down to 0.5 point. And so Illustrator has. For those of you who don't know Illustrator, this is not going to mean anything, but one of the things I do love about Illustrator is it allows you to offset the look of something. So instead of saying your stroke has to be applied right to the edges, it will typically allow you to add the stroke to the inside of the shape or the outside of the shape, but because I'm using a gradient, it's not allowing me to do either one of those. However, Minipacks, I'm not sure if you use this, but the appearance palette is one of my favorite palettes that I feel is, from what I've seen, is very underutilized by other graphic designers. Basically, if I want to, I can add multiple strokes and multiple fills to the same shape, which is fantastic. Used to have a big pro vinyl cutters for making roller derby apparel, but nice. That's cool. I have not made a lot of use of it for my own stuff, and I'm hoping to do that soon. But Moongirl's got some stickers and things for sale, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you can add multiple strokes and multiple fills to the same shape. Like if I wanted to do, I use it for maps all the time, because if I wanted to have a trail that was shown as blue for an intermediate level trail, but the blue is actually blending in with the background color for some reason, I can add a second stroke to that same line in behind that's white and make it thicker. And so like having that white line thicker pushes the detail from the background of the map away, so then you can see that blue line a lot crisper. And in this case, because the stroke won't allow me to actually place it to the inside, or I'll show you on a regular shape. So if I just make a box like this, I'm going to just go to the default colors. I'll make that thinner. So I realize I'm just rambling on now, and it doesn't make a lot of sense if you can't see. Okay, so the stroke on this, the stroke palette will let you, by default, keep it so that it's aligned to the center of the stroke. So as you can see down here, the blue line of the shape is in the middle. But if I click on align to inside of stroke, then the blue line of the stroke, the shape is along the outside. And it means like it's decided to then take the stroke and grow it from the outside in. And then you can also have the option to align to the outside. So then it's taking your stroke and it's adding it to the outside of the shape. So all of these are very handy. Typically what I would do is I would take this stroke and add it to the inside. But because I'm using the drop shadow feature, it's not allowing me to do that, which is a drag. However, you can actually sort of not worry about that too much, because I can, if I want to, I can go into the appearance palette. The appearance palette is a bit, how can I say this? So as far as Illustrator is concerned, this circle is a circle. That is the shape. And then you can apply as many appearances to it as you want. You can apply 100 strokes. You can apply 50 fills, gradients, patterns, whatever you want to, all to a single circle. It still sees that circle as the mathematical equation. It'll scale up and down. So what I can do here is I can select the stroke. So it's very much like the layers palette, in the sense that if I wanted to, I can move stroke below fill, and then you see that, I'm not sure if it was obvious, but when I did that, the stroke went in behind the fill. So here it's in front of the fill, here it's in behind. But I can also grab just the stroke and change. There's an effect called offset. Offset path. So you can go path, offset path, and basically what it allows you to do, if you wanted to have, basically like, if you had a circle and you think, oh, I want the circle to be the shape, but I want the stroke to appear off to the side, like 2 pixels all the way around, you can do that. But you can also have it so that you can do a little negative action on it as well. So I can do -1 if I want, but I want to do -0.12 or -0.25 because that's half the width of the stroke. And then that will actually make it snap to exactly where I want it to go. I mean, this isn't exactly where I want it to be, but this allows you to... Cosmic! More generosity, oh my goodness. Oh, 6 months of tier 1 to mini packs. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Cosmic. Oh, you're so super generous. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Cosmic. Oh yes, yeah. For the actual trimming, that's right. It does allow you to do the offset as well. So it's a similar mindset. So if you're offsetting your cut in the silhouette, but in this one you're actually offsetting your graphic a little bit. So in this case, I'm going to offset it by even more. So let's go over to the stroke, and you can actually toggle open these little drop-down menus, and it'll show you all of the different effects and appearances you have applied to it. So I can then go in here and tap on offset and say, no, I want to offset by 0.75 pixels, and you can preview it as well. There you go. But that path is a little bit thicker than I want it to be, so I might. The stroke is. I'm trying to think of right now. I'm trying to think of the best way to make a wheel look, and so I will offset it by just 0.5. The small wheel will do that, and so this is I'll just use this as an example. So let's get rid of I will keep the small circle here as reference. As you can see here, it's actually a separate shape. So I've got my outer circle and my inner circle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reproduce this with just an inner circle, like just one circle. I'm going to apply it with effects. We'll use it when making layer designs. Nice. I haven't used my silhouette for anything other than stickers and paper. I'd like to try balsam wood or cloth at some point. That would be cool. The silhouette machine. Indeed. Alright, so now I'm going to add another stroke to this. Oops. So now we've got this stroke right here. So what we can do, since we want to have the same look, so I can actually just take this, and I can either drag it down onto the plus. It'll make it a copy of it. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Or you can actually drag it down holding Option, but then it gets a little bit weird sometimes as to where you let go of it. Excuse me. So now in here, I can then offset this path. Let's offset it by a whole 1. How does that look? Pretty good. We want to actually go smaller than that. So 1.5 question mark. Right, that might be more than I want to be. Let's try 0.25. Okay, 0.25 looks like it's going to be good. So we'll do that. So now, basically, all I want to do is just with this stroke selected, I'm going to go over to the gradient palette again, and I'm just going to flip the gradient so that the shadow and the highlight are reversed. So basically now, if I wanted to, I could remove this shape, and I have something that looks like that for the wheel. So it doesn't give us the same harsh lines as before, but it's a little bit more in tune to the overall look of the train. It makes it look a little bit more 3D, like like we've started to do. So I feel like I lost a gradient in there. There was one underneath there. I must have moved it by not holding Option. Doesn't work as well, at least in mic trials. I'm wondering about that. Isn't there a specific cutting tool? You have the pen insert to use it and do some awesome stuff like repeat sketches onto cards, etc. That's fun. That is cool. See, now that would be a fun thing to try. These are all looking pretty good, except that stroke is a little bit thinner than I would want it to be, so I am going to play with it a tiny bit. Let's move it to 0.5 is probably going to make it heavier than I want it to be. Oh yeah, so let's ungroup this because it's just one shape now. And that's the thing, J Price, when you're asking about groups earlier. If you group two objects together, then you just delete one of them, Adobe Illustrator still sees it as that one object that's left is grouped with something. So you would have to then, if you wanted to get it back to being just a true one shape again, you just have to hit ungroup a couple of times. A little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. Actually, for the inner one, I'm going to make it go back to 0.25. But I think for the outer one, we're going to go to 0.5. I want to make it look a little bit deeper. We'll do that. I'll have to change the offset to be Is that what I want? I don't think so. Let's go back to 0.25 again. But I do think I like that thicker rim on the outside. We'll see. I may come back and change this, but that's basically having one single circle shape. And then making it look like you've actually got 1, 2, 3 separate circles. It's just the one. You've just added more appearances to it. Yeah, the more I think about this, the more I'm not sure about the final look of these gradient, because they seem pretty thin compared to the other ones I've done, so I may tweak them. However, now we can just move that along like this. We've got 2 wheels there. And then I can move these 2 wheels to the back. And then if I wanted to, I could actually do the same thing with this one. So I can ungroup this. Just keep the big wheel. If I click on that, and eyedropper it on another tool, we basically have the same look. And then, so if we go back to what we had, to mimic this look, I can keep exactly the same attributes, and it's going to keep the outer thickness the same, which is good. And then I just need to change what the offset for the middle circle is, which is pretty neat. I can just go like this. Which would be, what's that? That's the outer one. So you want to go to the inner one. Offset path by a lot. By 4. There, something like that. Again, I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the inset like that. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the inset where it's pink, pink, and pink all the way through. I feel like these middles need to be a different color almost, but I can't think of what they should be offhand. Or that or pink on the outside, pink on the inside, and then I feel like the insides maybe should be a different color. Let's actually try that as a gray. Actually, this is fun too. Like, I'll just, in the spirit of keeping this all one shape. So this is where, in the appearance palette, oh, I've got it over here now. Basically, I'm going to add a new fill. So I can go click on the Add New Fill button. And it automatically puts it up at the top, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to make it gray. And I'm going to move it down underneath the strokes, but on top of the pink. And then I can go to just this fill, choose offset path, and we're going to 0.75 would it be? No, 0.625? Is that what we're getting at? Probably. Yep. And then if I wanted to, I can go back to my appearance palette, and then I can create, like, just either drag down and copy the pink, or I can create a new pink layer. And the nice thing again, like, this is, like, as I was saying, for people who use Illustrator, this is very much like the layers palette as well, so you can drag attributes down. So if I wanted to option hold on offset path and drag it down onto this fill, then it'll do the same thing. Actually, what I need to do is put the gray underneath the pink, and then offset this pink down even more. Oops. Nope. Three. 0.125? Yes. It's a fun wheel color. That's cool. Alright, so I missed some of the chat because I was focusing on that, but what did we do? Oh, we're talking more about silhouettes. That's cool. All pink all the time. No worries. Alright, but now that I've got some color separation here, I think I may want to actually, let's go back and now... What is that offset? 1.25. Then the second one is... Alright, I'm going to then steal the look from here, and then actually now take the... Five? No, we want that to be one. I think it was 1.25. Yes, 1.25. This is where it gets to be a bit of a drag because trying to match them up. I'm basically trying to match the same look on two different sizes, which doesn't work perfectly, but for the sake of what we're doing, I've decided to accept the challenge. That one's fine. That one's in the wrong spot, so we need to then... .125? Yes, 0.125. Well, I actually like those wheels better, I think. Boop, 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 boop. That's a nice thing about the eyedropper tool as well. Well, I feel like those need to be tweaked a tiny bit still. The that train is looking pretty darn snazzy. I think I want to fix the wheels. I don't know that the pink wheels are doing it for me anymore. Let's just. I think a lighter gray might be what they need to be now on the inside. So. What we'll do is we'll just go to swatches, as we were talking about before. It means I'll make a separate swatch for these rectangle bits underneath, but I can just go to this if I want to, and go to a lighter gray. That is too light. It is far too light. Oh, sorry, I'm not even on the right thing. What am I doing? So instead of hot pink... Yeah, that's my problem. Okay, hold on. I was clicking on the wrong thing. So instead of it being pink here... Let's use the gray, but what we'll do is actually we'll use a... 50% of that to gray. One giant monitor covered in various streams and panels. That's funny. Air traffic control, yeah, space traffic control, exactly. In case it hasn't been said recently, Cosmic, you're awesome. I think I like the gray better than the pink for the wheels now, but still it feels like it's there's still something that's off. I'm realizing I haven't the pistons for the wheels and the engine, I have not finished those. So I will probably Come back to those at another point, or just finish those off at a different time. Because we are nearing the end of our time slot. Yeah, I like the gray wheels better. It feels like it's not quite there yet, but the pink was feeling a little... I think anyway, let's just undo a little bit. I don't know. I think you need to go back and forth a little bit. It's either the dark gray is just not doing it for me in the wheels. I'm just going to do a quick undo. I don't think that all pink for the wheels is what I want. They look very flat. So I feel like another color other than pink needs to go in there. So I'll leave it as gray for now because I feel like that's where my brain likes it the best now. I'll put that back at 0, 0. No, at 100, 100. Right. It's my reference square. But I will turn it off for now. You can hide it. There, that's the emote. And we can switch over to pixel preview mode. And you can see that looks a heck of a lot. So this is actually at 28 pixels by 28 pixels. So that looks a lot better than... Let's turn off the guides and open up... Oops. That one. Yeah, so looking at the train, this is what 28 by 28 pixels looks like just if you take Photoshop and do it as pixelated and you shrink it down. Let's do a copy. Do a side-by-side comparison. Oh, I didn't get to the smoke either. That's okay. We'll do the smoke another time. To copy that, paste it. Why is that not coming in at the size I want it to be? Green, just shrunk it down. Alright, so we are going to then enlarge it to be the same size. Come on, little graphic, you can do it. Alright, so let's just put it at the same spot. So put it at 100. At 100, make it 28. At 28. So we do a side-by-side comparison. It's partially because of the chunky lines that were required to separate the colors. This, you can see, it fills in quite a bit here. Going back to Photoshop for a sec. Yeah, I did the same thing here. So these, like this gold color just sort of blends in. We lose that gold color in the top here, and then it blends with the pink and stuff. So by doing it this way in Adobe Illustrator, just vectorizing it, and then making sure that those actual shapes snap to a pixel, this whole thing is just a lot clearer in terms of being an emote at that size, which is cool. So realizing I do need to add... Oh! What happened? I must have dragged that over without holding Option down, so I didn't make a copy of it. I just actually, unfortunately, stole it entirely. So I need to add that back onto the roof over here. Oh no, I took it from right here. That's right, because the smoke. Interesting. Now I wonder if I should have one here. It feels like it's missing something now. So perhaps I'll add that on. So I'll need to add the smoke, and I'm just going to try to draw the arcs of it. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it. Stop talking about it, Steven, and just do it. It'll probably take another 15 minutes. You get that. But overall, I guess this is just to show the side-by-side comparison between what it looked like done in Procreate, which was fun and cool, but sort of lacked the precision you can have when snapping things exactly to pixel in Adobe Illustrator. So this is fun. We go back to here. Now we just need to figure out these clouds. I don't think we need that right now, so I'm just going to hide that as well. I almost feel like these need to be darker, though. They don't really... Let's see. Looks too dark. We'll leave it like that for now, and then we'll come back to it. Maybe I need to have some circular shadows around it. Or maybe it's just the fact that they're too thick. They take up too much space, but I don't know exactly. I need to figure out something different if I'm not going to keep it that way. But yeah. Okay, so for the smoke, they are going to be round clouds, and they're not going to be... So they're not going to snap to pixels in the same way, but that's okay. So that gives us a bit of freedom anyway. We don't have to worry about them snapping exactly too. What I will do is draw a circle like this. Which can go like that, like that. A little bit larger. And then I'm going to use the same... Huh, I did not option drag. Same one and bump it down a level, and we'll do it right there. I'll use this circle as well and just drag it. There, we can use those three as the basis for our smoke. I don't know that I want them to be perfectly round, but it's kind of nice to have the circles as reference. Yeah, I'm saying it now. I do not want them to be perfectly round. We can actually just elongate that a little bit. What is that? So we can actually probably elongate it and flatten it. We'll do the same thing here. And we'll do a little one, little circle right next to it. Do. Or we'll leave it like that. Looks pretty good for a cloud shape. And so what we can do is I'm going to make a copy of these right here, but then I'm going to join these all into one big old shape using the Pathfinder tool like we did before. Exactly, yeah. Oh, what about deep blue? Oh, deep blue could be good. Sorry, I missed that. All gray. I'm sorry, I missed some of this chat. Call them up and show them your setup. Oh, NASA. I mean, you basically all the gray looks better. Thank you, Moon Girl. Pink is fun, yeah. I'm going to have to find a way to work pink in maybe somewhere else in the overall color scheme of it. Cool, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now I've got that. I'm going to... This is where it's... basically now I'm going to use the underlying shapes. Let's undo that. This little extra white space here would probably annoy me, so I'm going to take it. Go like this. And we'll split the difference. We will move over 0.5 of a pixel because these are round shapes and they're not going to be perfect anyway. So if I now take all of these and merge them together, one big old shape. And so now I'm going to grab these shapes underneath. Come on, grab. No, not the you, but you. Okay, I'm going to copy those, paste them. I am going to group those together into one big old shape as well. And then I'm going to use those to punch out the smoke. So instead of using intersect, where it would take... Intersect would keep the shapes where they overlap, but we don't want to do that. So we're actually going to use exclude, which does the opposite. It keeps the shape outside. So basically, where they overlap gets removed. Then everything else gets just sort of punched into the shape. So now I can keep this shape from before. One thing I don't like about that command is it groups automatically, which is a drag. Let's hide that again. We'll hide the bottom layer. So there, we have smoke. We literally have smoke. Shouldn't say literally have smoke, but just by doing simply that, the shape doesn't have any volume, but I don't know that it needs any volume since it's at the very top, and it's hugging right against these other shapes. So there's no need to add a shadow here to add separation between the yellow and the dark gray. Likewise with the red and the smoke here. So I guess a couple things it feels like it's missing is like, since we've done a little bit of rounding here and there, might as well add it to, since this is these are round shapes here, it's like a big kind of modular cone going up. And the parts that connect the wheels. Yep, we have to do that as well. You are right. Don't forget the coal. Yes, thank you, Moon Girl. And the coal, what color was the coal? Did we go with straight black for that? It would make sense if we did. Wait, what happened? Did I? Why is that not visible? Huh? Oh, it must be in the wrong preview. That's what it was. Okay. So I did not. I used gray for the coal. It feels like the coal... Might as well make the coal the same color as... Okay, let's try the coal as black first. Because that's what it would be. And since we've been doing circles, let's just do a circle. Go like this. And then we will combine that with another smaller circle. Yeah. That looks good. I always like to drag things off to the side so that if I need them later on for the part of the illustration, I can just go grab them. So that when I actually combine these shapes, using the Pathfinder tool, I'm actually committing them. So when you take a look at the outline, you can see that this is in fact one shape now, whereas the previous one, they were just overlapping. So keeping these, these are just circles, so it's not imperative that I keep them. They'd be probably pretty easy to reproduce. But since I'm still not sure what I'm going to do, it's just easier to sometimes hang off to the side like that. Sorry, hang on to them off to the side like that. Well, that went a little bit weird there. Illustrator is usually pretty good at taking care of paths, but when you look at this actually made this one drop down at a rough angle. Which is not very Illustrator-like of it. Oh, and it messed with that circle as well. Dear Illustrator, are you feeling alright? Because this does not seem like you. Alright, I'm actually going to scale them to be larger. Because sometimes it's kinder at larger scales. It still did it a tiny bit. What's going on? Oh well, at least now when I scale it back down to the size it was, that little annoyance is less noticeable. Alright, so then I'm just going to... Actually, let's just make this easier and just draw the shape that we need to trim down to. So we've got that. This is another one of those examples where we're going to use the intersect the intersect Pathfinder tool, because we actually just want to keep that shape in the middle. We can just go boop, like so. Use the eyedropper tool, grab that, and yeah, you're good to go. Although I am going to grab a little bit of shadow action there. So we're going to drag that shadow up. I'm also going to rotate it, holding down Option to make a copy of it. Put it at the bottom like this, just to make it look like it's inset a little bit. And similar to what we did over here with the shadow, we are going to punch these shapes out separately. I don't want the shadow to show up like this. I'm going to just hit copy on that shape. Select these two, hit intersect. Of course, it rotated the shadow on me. I'm going to hit paste, Command B to paste in behind again, and then I'm going to use that same shape and these two shadows together. Do I have them both selected? I do not. Why are you not both selected? You and you. There you go. Pathfinder tool. Intersect. There we go. Need to adjust the gradient again so that it's coming up upwards. No, that's downwards. We needed to go upwards. Terrible at remembering which is which on the Pathfinder. Find myself clicking them. I've had to use them so many times for logos and things that they've become sort of second nature. And I know what you mean, it can get confusing. Wheels, bring your eyes into the color of the train nicely too. Nice, cool, thanks Moon Girl. Alright, so that is pretty much that part of it. And then we need to do... so like I said, I feel pretty good about the coal and the clouds, so I'm just going to go and delete those shapes up there now. That's getting a little distracting, so we'll hide that. Don't need that anymore. Can I unlock those? I can't. Alright, so I need to have that bar come out and down and over to the bottom. Okay, that means we are going to actually have to move. Come on, shift key, do your thing. Move those up. Into the foreground. So this is going to be a piston thing. If this is going to be a piston thing, that means that is technically round. We'll do that. And then we need to have piston coming out from the side. We'll go like this. Yes. That was going to be... What color was that? No, Photoshop. What color was it? No, that was just straight... That was just black. Okay, maybe I'll make that... I'll make it black for now, just because I can't think of another color to make it. And one of the nice things about Adobe Illustrator now is you can actually round the corners just by grabbing the little circles in the corners like that. You can also do it for... I wonder if it's not letting me do it because I have grid turned on. Or have snaps as a grid turned on. Yes. Why is it being that way? So it's letting me round the corners if I have the entire shape selected, but it's supposed to allow me to do it just for a single corner. It's making a liar out of me. Oh, because I still have snap to grid turned on. I thought I turned that off. Snap to glyph. What? No, snap to grid. Turn that off. No, it's not letting me do it. It's making a liar out of me. You're supposed to actually... Maybe it's because I'm drawing it so small. I don't know, because if I draw a square like this, and I grab one corner of it like this, I'm supposed to be able to round the corner of just one of them. So that's all I'm trying to do down here, is actually just round the corner of that side, but whatever. It doesn't want me to. I won't do it right now. So then what I'll do actually is I'll take that same shape over to here, rotate it 45 degrees. Oops. Other way. I think that really not going to be perfect. Since things are being done at an angle here, there's no way to have it snap perfectly to a grid, which is a little bit annoying, but I'll forgive it. I will forgive it this time. So what I will do is I will actually round all the corners at the same time. And then I will do the same thing up here. I'll just have to change my tactics. So then I've got these. Is that right? Is that how I should be doing it? I guess at this point I can just go in here and remove these anchor points now. Then have a flat bottom. Oops. Use the tools up at the top here to actually turn round corners into pointed corners. Basically what I want there. I was hoping to do... Actually, I'm just going to... Oh, right. That's the downside of just rounding the corners like that, because it will... Okay, let's undo that. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a stroke. Instead of this nonsense, we're going to use a stroke to do the whole thing. It's a bit of a drag doing this because everything's going to try to snap to the grid. Not the end of the world, but I don't necessarily want it to snap to the grid for everything. Do that. Flip it. That's 1 pixel thick now. Amazing. But now with the stroke, with it being a stroke, what I can do is actually I can make the ends of it, give the ends of it a round cap, and I can give the corner a rounding as well, so then I don't have to worry about combining the shapes. The stuff that lives in my head. Funny. Use that all the time, and odd I won't use that all the time. It's odd it won't let you do it. Yeah. I think it must be because it's just at such a small size, because I'm literally down to like a pixel by a pixel kind of thing. Actually, this is terrifying. Let's do I'm just gonna hit save as Untitled 3 for now on the desktop, because I realize I've done this entire thing and not saved a lick of it. That would be awful. Alright, so let's nudge this not horizontally, let's go down half a pixel. And then maybe have you move to the left half a pixel. Oh, why are you not? Minus 0.5. Is that good? No, that's not right. Not terrible, but it feels like this is in the wrong spot. So maybe I have to move this one piece. It's not going to snap to a pixel, which is a drag. Minus 0.5. Minus 0.5. I think that's probably the best spot for it. And that can go minus 0.5 as well. Okay, that's probably the best spot for it. So now that we've created this as a stroke, I'd like to have it as a shape, so I can go to expand and fill end stroke, and you go, yep. And then now I can go back in here and take this piece off. Oops, I didn't mean to like just break it off. Or I could break it off, and then there's two different ways you can do it. You can either break it off, then go back in and repair it, which isn't the worst thing. It's probably quicker. Or you can go back in and just nudge all of the angles and things like that. So. There. That's pretty much it now. Like I said, I'll probably go in and do a little bit of tweaking, trying to figure this out. That gray feels like it has far too much presence down here now, and I'm not a fan of that. I need to figure that out a tiny bit. But yeah, there's my train emote. Oh no, we didn't do the. Apologize. I did not do the rounding of the things like I said I would. Slight rounding of the things. This will probably get a little bit tricky, actually. Actually, you know what? In this case, I'm going to. No, what happened? What got nudged? Out is off. What? Did I nudge this by accident? Looks like I did. That's no good. Does everything play nice now? Not quite. Lots of drag. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now, but I will have to go in and fix that. It's not exactly on top of it. And it's not the end of the world because it's going to be so small, but the fact that there's white space there, if I actually want to use this as a graphic on a t-shirt, it's going to annoy me. Alright, so this is create another new shape. 1, 2. Just do that. Use the eyedropper tool to grab the shadow, and then we'll create. Actually, that's not a good idea. Let's do. We're going to create a shape that looks a little. It's a nice little rhombus. And then that is what we're going to use. So what's going on here? One of these shapes is... So that's off. That's so weird. I must have accidentally nudged something at some point because this is... That's annoying because now that everything is slightly off, it's going to be paranoid that I did that to other spots as well. Yeah, I will have to fix that. Darn it! Just when I thought things were going smoothly. Alright. So I'm going to put that on the top, and I can use this, the gradient, except we're going to change the gradient to be 45 degrees. No, minus 45. Oh wait, okay. 45, 180, 225 is what it's supposed to be. No, 225. Why would you not do that? Alright, that's 180 minus 45. Minus 135 then? Why are you being that way? Oh, so it's 135. I went too far. Sorry about that. I can do that. Oops, that's glorious. A little bit of rounding there. I can do Y. Of course you wouldn't take. Why would you not? And that would be minus 45. Gradient, why are you being this way? It's 45. You know what? I don't think I'm going to, we're not going to worry about this right now. It's being, the math is causing my brain to go numb. And I enjoy the math, but, you know, doing said math while trying to stream about said math is not fun. So overall, voila. That is the engine. I am going to go in and just kind of tweak these shadows a little bit to round those things out, but overall, that is how it will appear. And so if I were to then take this, being 28 pixels high, I have to work on the width a little bit there. So if it's 55 wide, it's supposed to be 56 wide. So that's fine though. If we went times 4, this is the highest resolution it would appear. Oh, I need to fix the wheels a little bit too. That's as large as it would appear, and if we looked at the pixel preview for that, then this is what it'll look like at the largest size in Twitch. Just like that, which is pretty darn cool. Alright, that was fun. Well, it was fun for me. Hopefully it was fun for everyone else. I really appreciate you all being here, and for the generosity today, folks. So appreciative. Cosmic with your gift subs, Man-Made with your gift subs, and resubscribing folks, and all the bits from everyone. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the little vectorizing of this emote. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for being here and listening to me ramble on about Adobe Illustrator. I know it's not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but I wholeheartedly appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your days. Look after yourselves, look after one another, and yeah, if you want to hang tight here, I just gotta see who is doing their thing at the moment. So the Joel Duggan has just gone live. We don't actually get to raid him very often, so we're gonna, even though we're both in the Citadel together, so we're gonna do a raid on Joel. So if you want some Minecrafty goodness, hang tight, and yeah, we're gonna head over there. So thank you again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back Thursday evening. Thank you. Take care. Bye.